child rights in Uganda, and increasingly they've been stepped on. Parents are abusing the rights, teachers are abusing rights, family relatives are abusing rights. And a survey done by Health Child last year in Jinja found out that 42% of the people who were asked witnessed child's rights being stepped on, and especially at household levels where there's a father, there's a mother, there's an uncle, there's a sister, and it was shocking that 72% of these never did anything. What are the different child rights you know? If someone told you what are child rights, what would you tell them?
The right to food.
Okay.
Right to education. Right to
Shelter.
Right to protection.
To protection. What do you mean by protection?
To keep you well, not to physical harms.
Rights for worship God.
Rights to
Rights to worship. Yes. I'm learning new rights.
I'm also learning
Right
new
to
rights.
medical care.
A right to medical care. Well.
Right to participate.
Sir, what do you mean
What
by
do you
right
mean?
to participate?
When you want to tell your father something, and you tell him, I want this one, and he give you.
Any other rights? Any other rights? Yes.
Right for expression.
For expression. Do you exercise the right of expression at school? If you want to say something, are you allowed?
Yes.
You're sure?
Yeah.
Officer.
Yes.
You see, the children obviously know what is going on. What are some of the rights that you think they have not mentioned that they should be guaranteed?
These children have several rights, and among the rights that they not mentioned is that they have a right to play. They have also rights to legal protection. They must be protected legally. That's why these laws are there. The Children's Act, the what. Now they also have a right to to medical care.
Yes, you're a community leader, chairman, which too. You see these children every day. Are there things that they must get that we haven't talked about?
Okay, one more thing. Also, the children have the right to be punished slightly. Just because when these children are punished, that's when they go as a trade.
Right.
So it is also their right to have slight punishments.
Hey.
They are about to attack you.
We are supposed to be punished, but we are not supposed to be punished carelessly. If maybe we have done just something small and they punish us carelessly. For example, they will I heard on the radio that the mother banned a child in his private part. Don't you see that is a bad punishment?
You work with children. Kids are being, punished severely. Are there things that which parents should know that these are things that should be guaranteed for the children?
The children have a right to parental love and care, but nowadays there is poor parenting. These parents don't give time to their children because of work and all that. They complain that I have to go and work, look for food, look for what, leaving the children at home, so they don't get ideas from their children. And these children, since they are left alone, they don't have anyone to talk to. They join bad groups. They start stealing. They start doing bad things, taking drugs and all that. So I think the parents should take up their position, should take up their responsibility. And among the child rights, we should it goes hand in hand with responsibilities. Though they are provided with rights, they also have their own responsibilities. As parents, they should provide education, but as children, they have a responsibility of going to school, study hard, and all that.
I like what you said. Where there are rights, there are responsibilities. We are trying to look at this whole thing in totality. I want to ask you, the pupils, why do you think people abuse your rights?
Parents abuse our lives. E.g., the step parents, they have their children. So if they have the same right as you, they tell, this one may be brighter than my son, so I will abuse him. So
that his brain does not work very well, so that he does not work well at school or during the examination.
So they are just jealous.
Yes.
Some of them don't want us to show our talents. When for us we want to show our talents, you say, if you show your talents, I will kill you. So we fear them and we don't show our talents, and they start abusing us.
Additional that.
What kind of talent are you talking about?
Dancing, playing, every talent if you have.
Addition on that.
Addition?
Yes, she has said that some parents, they don't want us to show our talents. E.g., you can tell a parent that at home that I'm in choir at the school, and for her, she can say that no, those are just wasting time. You are wasting your time in choir, so leave that and go to class. And yet you are showing your talent.
So they,
they end up losing your talent.
She said something about you do not expect your rights to be respected if you do not know your responsibility, if you're not responsible, if you do not be responsible. What do you think is your responsibility as a child? What is it that you must do so that you avoid someone abusing your rights? Yes?
You must go to school.
You must go to school.
Yes.
Good.
Responsibility to help our parents at home.
Okay.
Responsibility to look after our younger ones.
Wow. What's your responsibility as a child?
I have to help my parents doing the housework.
Wow.
Responsibility to respect our parents.
Yes, you have to respect them.
To respect our elders,
Wow.
not only parents.
All elders.
I want to go back to the question that I asked you. Yes, you told us about responsibilities. Why do you think your parents abuse your rights?
Our parents abuse our rights because sometimes we even don't want to fetch water. That's why they don't give us food.
I find it very annoying that a mother would ban private parts of a child. What excuses do parents give you?
Me, what I realized as parents, they are ignorant about these issues. For them, the government came out saying child rights, but they didn't mention the responsibilities of children. So what they think is you don't have to beat a child. They have totally negative attitude about child rights. Even if you go to the community to sensitize people about this, they don't want to come.
Take a look at Sarah Nalule, who is from Health Child, and when we come back, we'll find out from you. Why don't you report
When your rights are
when
abused.
your rights are abused?
There are several examples of abuses of children's rights at the household level, and many of them are connected to child neglect. They are where we have seen cases of denial of children food, denial of education, denial of health to children. Another example of child rights abuses at household level is physical abuse. There are several reasons that can be accounted to the increased abuses at the household level. We saw that 72% of community members are aware of children's rights, but then many of them do not report cases that relate to children's rights. And some of the things that we have identified as a result of the interventions that we implement is that there is a high influx of domestic violence in the communities that we serve that does have a direct connotation to upholdment of children's rights at household level. On the side of actors that are supposed to protect children's rights, for example, the local leaders at the village level and the police, we find that they are constrained in terms of capacity. Some of those constraints have been connected to financial reasons, whereby you realize that a case needs to be followed up at the household level, and the local leader is telling you that I do not have the resources, or I do not have a piece of paper on which I can write the report pertaining to that child. What can be done to reduce abuses, especially at the household level, is that we should start with different stakeholders at the household level, because the family and the household is the first protection unit. Sarah
Nale from Health Child, and of course for more information just head over to Health Child. Yes, why don't you report when they abuse your rights? Yes,
Do not report because if you are an orphan of one parent, or a mother or a father, if he or she is a parent of you, when he is a lady or a man, you may report him, and then if they take him to the prison, you will not have where to get food, where to have water.
Oh, so you fear that they will take them and you remain alone?
Yes. And that's because if they go, you will not have food, so that you may die because of hunger.
Addition on that, when they take them to prison, you may be there alone, and it can lead you to go to the street, and you end up being a street child.
Reporting olw'ensonga nti ba LC wano baba poliisi ezibeera ku byalo abapoliisi abamu babeera mikwano gy'abazadde baffe kati ogenda okuripotinga omusango gwo omupoliisi oba chairman tasobola kuwuliriza musango gwo olw'ensonga nti amanyi nti oli mwana wa mukwano gwe ensonga yagitwala bw'atya tagiteekamu maanyi
bawulidde
abapoliisi tujja mubuuza lwakyakikola. Why do you fear? Why don't you report? Is that the only reason why you don't report?
Yes.
Tulina okubaloopa kubanga bw'obaloopa bayiga engeri gye balina oyisaamu abaana.
Yes, sir.
Tutya okuloopa kubanga abazadde baffe abamu mayinza makomera nga babasibye ne bajja ne batutta.
Have you seen that happen?
Nze namulabako omuzadde omwana yamugamba nze tompa mmere tompa ki ate yali tatawe mwenyini nagenda namulwabira kukomera ne poliisi nakomawo yali asala miti nakomawo nakwata gundi ye mashini eyo natandika omusalaasala nadduka nava ku mukambi nagenda.
Is that true or
Where was that?
That report. That report sijiwuliranga kwa that report.
Where was
Gwali
it?
mwaka ki?
Mwaka guno gwenyini waffe Buvuma.
Wa?
Buvuma eyo.
Buvuma. You see that one is another district. I've never heard of
Hey,
that one.
what happens to kids that report? Do you
You see,
protect them?
the kids come, and this time what we have decided to do, that if a parent has mistreated a child, and we see such that the child is in danger, we normally use the LCs or some approved homes if the child is still young. We can either use that one or use the LCs themselves to guard the child's life. Because actually, as they are talking, some parents are crude. When it's reported at the police, it turns the child to be maybe just throws the child away. If at all is released or if he's put in prison.
What guarantee does the child have that they will
when
leave?
I report I'm protected?
Yes.
Okay, I think what we have to do as the stakeholders who are dealing with children, we should at least not only the LCs, because sometimes they are not there, maybe even the neighbors can help to provide information, because the best place for a child is a family. We're supposed to keep them in the family. Maybe if you see that the parent, the biological father is not taking care of the child very well and the things are going astray, you see the parent is a drug addict, maybe we can take them to the relatives, the person who can really take care of that child, because our main issue is maintaining the safety of the what? Of the child. But the neighbors, sorry?
If a child reports and says, okay, my mother beats me every morning, they even beat me, I'm bleeding, and then you arrest the mother, and you arrest them for about 6 months, what's happening during those 6 months?
Ekiyinza okumalawo obulungi ebintu bino omwana bw'aba azze n'aloopa taata wange akola kino oba akola bw'ati. It's better to call both parties, omwana ne omuzadde, you try to at least counsel both parties. Kubanga tetujja kubeerawo nti we are just ready okukwata omuzadde bamutwale ku poliisi bamusibe, unless when he has done something very bad.
Apparently,
Yes.
How do you reconcile children and parents?
It depends on the type of the torture or the abuse that has occurred. Because if at all it is grave, then that parent should be taken to court. And in the court, he must be sentenced. I mean, he must be given a punishment that deserves that abuse. Now, normally when it's not actually very grave, we counsel them. We bring them, and we have that Department of Child and Family Protection unit. That one, we deal with counseling and trying to maintain those homes. Not just because that parent still remains the parent of that child. So it is not good to make a very big gap between them. What you just do is to bring them together, talk to them, tell the parent the actual abuse that he has done, and he should stop it. Warn him that he should not do it. Even when that was not there, in the LC structure, there is that person who is responsible for the children.
For children.
That one is supposed to also to be around. If he's not around, then we can call for the services of a probation and social welfare officer.
Now, the 1989 UN Convention on the Rights of Children says that every child has the right to a childhood, and that includes protection from harm, like that gentleman said, the right to be educated, the right to be healthy, the right to play, the right to be heard. And because some of us say, "Oli mwana mwana,"
usually bagamba abantu bakulu baba boogera osirikanga todda so osirika when people are talking.
Do you know where to report in case your parents?
Yes.
Where do you report?
To the chairman, to the police.
Even elders.
If you have any neighbor which you trust, you can report to him or her so that she can help you.
Madam, have you seen any changes as you go on sensitizing people about what the children's rights are, what the responsibilities of the children? So what changes have you seen?
Okay, for that case, I will refer to the cases that we've worked on as Health Child, the cases we've identified in schools that were reported by the children. What we normally do, we go for home visits to find out, to fact find, because sometimes these children normally lie, and sometimes they tell the truth. So you can't first judge before heading to the home of the child. So we keep on monitoring, counseling all the time, checking on them to see that they are progressing in each and everything. You ask the child, is there any change in the family? They say yes. So we have to not like settling the case and you leave it there. You have to keep on following up.